In the gentle light of dawn, as the world awakens, a quiet and ancient story unfolds. It is a tale written not in books, but in the very fabric of the green earth around us. We often walk past these stories, told by the humble plants that carpet our landscapes without a second glance. Hidden within their simple leaves and unassuming seeds are secrets of survival and sustenance that have nourished life for millennia. These plants have watched generations come and go, silently offering their gifts. They are the keepers of a profound wisdom, a natural knowledge that speaks of balance, resilience, and deep, intricate connections that bind all living things together in a delicate, beautiful dance. The modern world, with its bustling pace and vast supermarkets, has taught us to look for nourishment in neatly packaged goods and familiar sources. We think of protein, that essential building block of life, and our minds often turn to the animal kingdom. Meat, eggs, dairy, or perhaps we consider legumes and grains. But nature's pantry is far more diverse and surprising than we might imagine. In forgotten corners of the world, in traditional gardens and wild meadows, there are plants that challenge our common understanding. They are unassuming powerhouses of nutrition, holding within their cells a richness that rivals and sometimes even surpasses our most conventional protein sources. This journey does not take us to a laboratory or a factory, but back to the soil, to the very source of all life. It is an exploration of the quiet potential that lies sleeping in the plant kingdom. We are invited to slow down, to look closer, and to listen to the subtle whispers of the natural world. It is here, among rustling leaves and sun-drenched fields, that we can rediscover a different kind of strength, a different form of nourishment. This is a story about one such plant, a humble yet extraordinary gift from the earth, a source of life for countless generations, holding a promise of wholesome nutrition as old as the hills upon which it grows. We begin by setting aside what we think we know and opening our minds to the gentle teachings of the earth. The world of plants is filled with wonders, many of which remain just beyond the periphery of our busy lives. From the tallest trees to the smallest blades of grass, each one has a role to play and a story to tell. Our focus today rests on a particular plant whose legacy is woven into the history of ancient cultures. It sustained communities and demonstrated the remarkable efficiency and generosity of nature. Its existence is a quiet reminder that sometimes the most profound answers are found not in grand pronouncements, but in the simple, steady pulse of the green world. Long before the rise of modern agriculture, our ancestors lived in much closer harmony with the rhythms of the land. Their survival depended on an intimate knowledge of their surroundings, a deep understanding of which plants could heal, which could harm, and which could provide the strength needed for daily life. They learned through careful observation, through trial and error passed down from one generation to the next. This ancestral wisdom formed a rich tapestry of ethnobotany, the story of how people and plants have coexisted and supported one another. It was in this era that many of the world's most nutritious foods were first discovered, not through scientific analysis, but through a lived sensory connection to the environment. Within this vast library of traditional knowledge, certain plants were held in particularly high esteem. They were the cornerstones of ancient diets, revered for their ability to provide complete and robust nutrition, especially in times when other food sources were scarce. These were not crops bred for size or shelf life, but plants that thrived in their natural habitats, perfectly adapted to the local climate and soil. They were valued for their resilience, their versatility, their dense nutritional profile. The story we are about to uncover centers on one of these treasured plants, a species whose name has been whispered through the ages in small communities, a quiet testament to its life-giving properties. This plant has been a silent companion to humanity for thousands of years. Its leaves have been gathered by careful hands, its seeds have been patiently harvested, its presence a symbol of security and abundance. In traditional diets, it was more than just food. It was a fundamental part of daily existence. It provided the protein necessary to build strong bodies, the energy to work the land, and the essential nutrients to maintain health. Yet, despite its long and venerable history, its story has remained largely untold, a quiet chapter waiting to be rediscovered by a wider world. Our journey today is one of gentle rediscovery. We will peel back the layers of time to understand this remarkable plant, to explore how it was used, and to appreciate the profound nutritional wisdom it holds. It is an invitation to listen to an ancient whisper, a voice from the past that speaks of a different way of seeing the world and our place within it. By focusing on this one singular plant, we begin to appreciate the immense and often overlooked diversity of nature's offerings. It is a reminder that the earth has always provided for us. Sometimes the most extraordinary secrets are hidden in the most ordinary of places. To appreciate the remarkable gifts offered by the plant kingdom, we must first take a moment to understand the very substance that makes this particular plant so special. Protein. In the simplest of terms, protein is one of the fundamental building blocks of all life on Earth. Imagine a house constructed from countless tiny bricks. In much the same way, our bodies are built and maintained by proteins. They are essential for almost everything we do and everything we are. Muscles, skin hair protein forms the very structure of our physical selves. It is the master material from which life is woven. These proteins are themselves made of smaller units called amino acids. Around 20 types exist. They can be arranged in countless combinations, like letters of an alphabet. Each arrangement creates a protein with a specific job. Some amino acids our bodies can make. Essential amino acids we must get from food. We must obtain these essential building blocks from the food we consume. This is why our diet is so critical. It is not just about satisfying hunger. It is a daily quest to gather the necessary materials to repair, replenish, and sustain our bodies. When we consume protein, digestion breaks it into amino acids. Those amino acids are absorbed into the bloodstream and transported where needed. A constant, beautiful cycle of deconstruction and reconstruction. Yesterday's meal may become a new muscle fiber today, or an enzyme that digests tomorrow's meal. This ceaseless activity is the pulse of life, renewing us. Without a steady supply, the process falters. Seeing food as raw materials changes how we eat. Every meal is an opportunity to give our bodies tools to thrive. High in protein means rich in essential amino acids, the bricks of life. That richness makes our quiet, unassuming plant a treasure. It offers not just energy, but the substance to build and repair. A direct, generous contribution to foundational processes, all drawn from soil water and sunlight. The journey of this plant, from a living being in the field to a nourishing food on the table, begins with the harvest, an act performed with patience and deep respect. The timing of this process was crucial, a skill passed down through generations, learned by observing the subtle cues of the plant and its environment. Harvesters would wait for the peak of maturity, a moment when the seeds had reached their full nutritional potential, but had not yet been scattered by the wind or eaten by birds. This often coincided with the late autumn, when the air grew crisp and the leaves began to fade from a vibrant green to a pale golden hue. The methods used were gentle and deliberate, a far cry from mechanized agriculture. Entire families, communities would often work together, moving through the fields in a slow, rhythmic procession. They would gather the seed-bearing stalks by hand, carefully cutting them with small, sharp sickles, or simply snapping them off with a practiced twist of the wrist. This manual approach allowed for a selective harvest, ensuring only the ripest and healthiest plants were taken. This careful selection was an act of stewardship, ensuring the continued health and vitality of the plant population. Once gathered, the stalks were bundled into sheaves and carried from the fields to a designated drying area. A flat, sun-drenched patch of cleared earth. A large courtyard. The roof of a dwelling where the air could circulate freely. The bundles were laid out in neat rows, a beautiful tapestry of gold and brown under the warm sun. For days or weeks, the stalks would be left to dry completely, turned periodically to ensure even exposure. This natural drying process made separating the seeds much easier and helped preserve them for long-term storage, protecting them from mold and decay. This patient harvest was more than labor. It was a communal activity, a time of connection and shared purpose. It was accompanied by the quiet hum of conversation, the sharing of stories, and the teaching of younger generations. The methodical motions of gathering, bundling, and drying created a meditative atmosphere, a deep connection to the rhythm of the seasons. It was a tangible expression of the community's relationship with the land and with this plant. A relationship built on gratitude, careful observation, and the understanding that good food begins with a patient and respectful harvest. With the precious flower prepared, it found its way into the very heart of the community's daily meals. Perhaps its most common and fundamental use was in the creation of a simple, nourishing porridge or gruel. The flour would be slowly whisked into a pot of simmering water. The flour would be slowly whisked into a pot of simmering milk and cooked gently until it thickened into a smooth, creamy consistency. This humble dish was often the first meal of the day, providing a slow release of energy and a substantial amount of protein to fuel the hard work of farmers and artisans. It was a deeply comforting and sustaining food, warming the body and providing a solid foundation for the day ahead. Its flavor was subtly nutty and earthy, a taste of the very soil from which it came. Another primary use of the flour was in making various forms of unleavened flatbread. The flour would be mixed with water and a little salt to form a simple dough. This dough was then kneaded, divided into small portions, rolled by hand, flattened by hand, into thin circular discs. These were cooked quickly on a hot flat stone over an open fire or on a clay griddle. The breads would puff up slightly as they cooked, their surfaces blistering with dark toasty spots. These flatbreads were the perfect accompaniment to almost any meal, used to scoop up vegetable stews, dip into sauces, or simply eaten on their own as a convenient and portable source of sustenance. The versatility of the plant did not end with its ground seeds. The young, tender leaves were also a valued part of the diet, especially in the spring and early summer before the plant had put its energy into producing seeds. These leaves were harvested and used as a nutritious green vegetable. They could be steamed, lightly boiled, and served as a simple side dish, seasoned with a little salt or wild herbs. More often, they were chopped and added to hearty soups and stews, where they would wilt into the broth, contributing their rich mineral content and a subtle, pleasant flavour. This use of the leaves ensured that the plant provided nourishment throughout its entire growing season. Porridge, flatbreads, cooked greens formed the culinary trinity of this ancient food source. The immense value of this ancient plant extends far beyond the nourishment it provides for the human body. It offers a profound gift back to the very earth from which it springs. One of its most remarkable qualities is its ability to improve the soil in which it grows. Many traditional crops deplete the soil of vital nutrients, forcing farmers to let fields lie fallow or add external fertilizers. Our plant does the opposite. As a member of a unique botanical family, it forms a symbiotic relationship with microscopic soil organisms. It captures nitrogen directly from the atmosphere and converts it into a natural fertilizer. This process, nitrogen fixation, enriches the soil and makes it more fertile for subsequent crops. While the protein content of the seeds is their most celebrated feature, these tiny parcels of life hold another valuable secret: a rich and beneficial oil. By using simple screw presses made from wood, made from stone, communities could extract this precious substance from the seeds. The process involved applying immense pressure to the ground seed meal, slowly forcing the clear, golden-hued oil to trickle out. The oil was highly prized, a concentrated form of the plant's energy, a liquid treasure. It extended the plant's utility far beyond its role as a primary foodstuff. The most immediate use was in cooking. It had a pleasant, light flavor that didn't overpower other ingredients, making it versatile for frying, for dressing cooked vegetables, and for grains. The benefits of the oil were not limited to the kitchen. It was also a fundamental component of traditional skincare and gentle remedies. Its emollient properties made it an excellent moisturizer, used to soothe dry skin exposed to the harsh sun and wind. It could be applied to minor scrapes and to burns to keep skin supple and protected during healing. Furthermore, the oil served as a source of light and warmth. In simple clay lamps or stone lamps, a wick made from twisted plant fiber could be placed in a small quantity of the oil. When lit, it burned with a clean, steady, near smokeless flame, illuminating homes long after the sun had set. The decline of our ancient plant, and many others like it, did not happen suddenly. It was a slow, gradual eclipse, a fading from the fields and diets of communities over the course of generations. One of the most significant factors was the rise of modern industrial agriculture and its focus on the monoculture. This approach favored efficiency and scale. It maximized yields by dedicating vast, unbroken tracts of land to a single crop. Fields that once held a diverse tapestry of plants were ploughed over, then replanted with endless rows of wheat, corn, soy. Alongside the profound changes in agriculture, a more subtle but equally powerful transformation was taking place within households and communities, a gradual shift in taste and dietary habits. These new staples were convenient, had a long shelf life, offered a consistent, predictable flavor. Compared to these refined products, the earthy, nutty taste of our ancient plant's flower began to seem old-fashioned to some, a reminder of a past from which they sought to move forward. This change was often accelerated by urbanization. People moved from rural villages to burgeoning cities in search of work and new opportunities. Their connection to the land and its traditional foods began to fray. In the city, no fields to cultivate, no communal harvests to participate in. Food was something to be purchased from a market or a shop, not grown with one's own hands. The daily rhythm of grinding seeds and cooking porridge was replaced by the quicker pace of urban life. With it, the taste for these ancestral foods began to fade from memory. The knowledge of how to cultivate, harvest and prepare this plant was never written down in textbooks. It was a living library, held in the minds and hands of the elders. It was passed down from parent to child, from grandparent to grandchild, through shared work and oral tradition. The decline of the plant was therefore inextricably linked to the fraying and eventual severing of this vital chain. The elders still held the knowledge, but there were fewer and fewer young people to receive it. Without the understanding of proper seed saving, the most robust and well-adapted local varieties of the plant began to disappear. When the last person who knew how to properly prepare it passed away, a whole chapter of that story was closed. Despite the overwhelming forces that have led to its decline, the story of our ancient plant is not over. In recent years, a quiet resurgence has begun to take root in small pockets around the world. A new generation is looking to the past for future answers. Farmers, chefs, scientists, everyday people. Our industrial food system has costs. Our health, our environment, our cultural heritage. Forgotten, protein-rich plants are being rediscovered. Our journey is now drawing to a close. We have walked through sun-drenched fields, peered into the heart of a tiny seed, and sat at the table of an ancient community. We have followed the story of a single humble plant, a quiet provider that has nourished humanity for millennia. Its tale is a profound and gentle echo from the past, a whisper that carries a timeless truth. Nature, in its infinite variety, provides everything we need. This plant, with its remarkable protein content and its generous gifts to the soil, stands as a quiet testament to the intricate and elegant solutions that exist all around us, often hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to slow down and pay attention. The story of its decline is a sobering reflection on the path we have taken, a path of industrial scale, of standardization, and of disconnection. Yet this is not a story of despair, but one of hope. The rediscovery of this ancient food source is a powerful symbol of a growing shift in human consciousness. It reflects a deep yearning to reconnect with the natural world, to find a more balanced and sustainable way of living. It is an act of remembering. As we conclude, let us hold the image of this plant in our minds. Let it be a symbol of resilience, a reminder of the quiet strength that lies in small and unassuming things. The echo of ancient wisdom that this plant carries is an invitation to look at our world with new eyes, to see the potential in the forgotten corners, and to appreciate the profound generosity of the green earth that has always been, and will always be, our ultimate home. The path forward is not always a new one. Sometimes it is an ancient trail, waiting patiently to be walked again.